I hate practicing. Nothing about it really seems appealing, but it really is necessary to become a better musician. And since I'm forking over tens of thousands of dollars to get a piece of paper that says I'm a musician, I should probably stop whining about it. And since I run a productivity channel, I ought to figure out ways to make practicing more effective and ultimately remove the friction of doing the action of practicing. Now, I had an enlightening conversation with fellow musician and YouTuber Alicia Ann a couple of weeks ago, and we touched upon some great practice strategies.
So for starters, having multiple instruments in my case, or maybe having multiple genres or things to work on for another person, having just like, instead of having one focus, that helped me to get into the practice room and actually get work done. And then toward the end of my college career, like when I was really figuring out how to practice and how to do it effectively, this idea actually came from teaching. I would make like a lesson plan and then a lesson done. And so what that would do is like, here's my expectations of what I want to do, but then here's actually what I get done. And so working on that so that you could plan effectively with a lesson plan, it really helped me like in a ensemble setting, like this is what I want them to do, but this is what we actually accomplished, until the plan reflected reality. That was really big for me in terms of like getting things done and not, like dreaming of like, oh, we're gonna, finish the whole symphony by, like whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, then I took that into the practice room as an individual. Like, this is what I planned to get done, but this is what I actually got done. How come those don't match? Like, what's not adding up? And then fixing that the next time I go into the room. I know a lot of people struggle with making plans in general, and they just like don't enjoy it. Like having a practice log or a practice journal is just like not their thing. I had some friends like that, and so how they would ask me the same question, because like I'm super organized, I like to write things down, and they were the exact opposite. And so what I told them that seemed to help them is instead of having like a detailed lesson plan, is to like set one goal. Don't even write it down, like just have it in your head if that's the way that you work, and see if you can accomplish that one thing. And then having, of course, like goals, a recital or a jury, whatever it is, can also really, really motivate you when you don't feel like doing anything.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest takeaways I got from Alicia was having this list of expectations and things you actually got done during the practice session. Now, you can keep track of these through a practice journal or through Notion. Now, if you're a Notion diehard like me, then I'll link Alicia's practice log template down below if you want to go check that out and easily log your sessions. So you may be wondering, look, I have no problem with practicing effectively, and I actually love to practice. It's just the fact that I can't get out of bed and go to the practice room or just pick up my instrument in the first place. So what do I do there? Now to that I say, why are you practicing? But in all seriousness, you should really find out the reason why you're practicing at all. So finding your why is one of the most important things that you should consider if you're having troubles with actually practicing your instrument in the first place. Are you trying to become a professional musician one day? Do you need to practice just to get a good grade or please your lesson teacher every week? Or do you just want to practice your instrument so you can become a little bit better and it's just a fun hobby for you? Whatever your reason is, whatever your why is, you should let that be the guiding principle on your journey as a musician. Because if your why is strong enough, then theoretically you won't have any problem with getting out of bed or just picking up your instrument when you really don't want to. And I know we have our off days, and our purpose may be cloudy at times. So what are some more practical and actionable things we can do as musicians? A great tip is to set aside time in your calendar for practicing. Also, keep it manageable, maybe at 30-minute or hour chunks, never more, or you risk being overwhelmed. If we're trying to reduce friction, or the time it takes from doing something else to doing the thing you want to be doing, then if you can, try to have your instrument as close to you, or make it more accessible. For example, if you have your instrument on a stand nearby, then the friction from actually just sitting down and doing nothing and practicing is reduced if you just have your instrument in close proximity, or it's just accessible and easy to use right away. And if you make it too difficult to practice right away, then our minds just resist the idea of practicing if it's not easy enough to get into the first place. Now, an interesting phenomenon actually happens when we just have the willpower to just start practicing. Now, there's a lot of people that say, I need motivation to start practicing. But the interesting thing that I discovered, and a lot of people share in the productivity world, is that you actually gain motivation after doing the work, and it's not the other way around. And if you don't believe me, then try it. Now, I obviously just scratched the surface in this video, and if you have any tips that you've discovered on your own journey from practicing or just reducing the friction to practice in the first place, then leave those down below for other musicians in our community to discover. If you would like to see how creative burnout affects this whole equation, then check that video out up here. Anyways, thanks for watching and keep writing.